Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the Thursday, June 17th, Boone County Board meeting to order at 6:37. I apologize for the delay. I was back from Wheat and just got held up a little bit. So we'll start with Pledge of Allegiance and then have a quick invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, we ask that be with us here this evening as we do the work of our community. Give us courage to make decisions that may be unpopular. Give us wisdom to aid in the assist of those decisions. We also ask that you be with one of our board members who's not here with us today, Vice Chairman Gieske, as she recovers from her accident. Please bless the skill of the doctors that work with her and aid in the healing process so that she can rejoin us in the near future. We also ask that you be with all our servicemen and women throughout the U.S. and throughout the world. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. What I was going to read.
Roll call, please.
Sherry Burnell. Here.
One of my favorite Old Testament.
Jeff Carlisle.
Here.
Ryan Curry.
Here.
Freddie De La Trinidad.
Here.
Jerry Siggy is absent. Carl Johnson.
Here.
Ray Larson.
Here.
Rodney Riley. Bill Robertson.
Here.
Steve Schabacher.
Here.
Jonathan Van Laar.
Here.
Dave Wiltsey.
Here.
On the agenda, I would like to amend the agenda, moving item 9.1 to 17.0. Get to that point at 17.0, understand a little more why it's been requested to do that by the state's attorney. So I'd accept a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Carlisle, seconded by Mr. Curry. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next, I'd accept a motion to approve the June 3rd Committee of the Whole Administration meeting minutes, the June 3rd Committee of the Whole Administration Executive meeting minutes, and the May 20th County Board minutes.
So moved. Mr. Chairman, just wanted the record to reflect that I had made amendments. The amendments have been circulated to the board members.
Can you hold that thought?
Yes.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Carlisle, seconded by
Second.
Mr. Robertson.
Thank you.
Mr. Wiltsey.
I moved to amend the minutes as I had indicated with some specific instances on the special use. And that language has been circulated among the board members. Ted mentioned it last meeting. And I so moved that that amendment be accepted.
Just to clarify.
Weren't they just added to the minutes?
Should have.
So we wouldn't have to.
They weren't.
Well, if you're gonna, the minutes as presented previously are being amended, or I propose to amend them with the language I've added. So I'm now formally saying that process ought to be reflected, that there's an amended minutes.
And I guess I would just like to clarify that I think he means that he wants to amend the minutes of June 3rd.
Yes.
2021 of the administrative minute meetings, minute meetings, since there were 3 items that the chairman read off.
Okay. So that's a motion by you to add those amendments to those meeting minutes?
To add those amendments, yes.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Carlisle. Any discussion on the amendment? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Now we should have a motion.
Yeah, then we have a motion and
Thank you.
discussion on the motion as amended. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Public comment. If there's anybody in the boardroom that has not signed up on a white sheet here, but would like to make public comment, I ask that you please go to the table, grab a white sheet and fill it out and bring it up here. I do have a few here. Becky Lose. As a reminder, when you do come up, our microphone does tend to be a little touchy there, so please speak directly into it. And then also, when you get there, please state your name and address for our record. Thank you.
Hear me? People can hear? Okay. I'm Becky Lose, and I live at 9504 Denver Drive. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge how many people here came in tonight to talk about the special use permit and are from the neighborhood and have concerns. Could you raise your hands? How many are here for the special use permit? Because I know last time we didn't know how many were here. So, all right. I understand that it is the county board and the county planner's job to generate new business into Boone County. Public safety needs to come first when this special use permit is voted upon tonight. The history of this 2-mile stretch of Poplar Grove Road has unfortunately made the newspapers. It's been on evening TV news, and most importantly, it has been on the Boone County Board's agenda numerous times over the last 2 decades in an effort to decrease the accidents that occur there. Hopefully the newest board members have done their homework and discovered how much manpower and money from within Boone County has gone towards this effort. On December 20th, 2018, my State Line News broadcasted a segment on the dangerous intersection on Poplar Grove Road. The interview came 1 month after a woman was killed on Squaw Prairie Road in Poplar Grove. In this broadcast, Sheriff Ernest was interviewed and he stated, quote, "The accidents have increased at the intersection over the years. That's based off of an increase of traffic in those areas as some of our northern communities have been growing, which is Poplar Grove and Candle Lick." He said, "It's not the case that people are blowing the stop signs because 95% of the accidents are people stop and they pull out. It really is a congestion during those key high traffic times," unquote. My concern is there is no turning lane to enter or exit Mr. Ojida's driveway. With the speed that people travel on Poplar Grove Road, this could very well increase rear-end collisions at that entrance, not to mention what could happen when event goers pull out of the driveway and misjudge how fast traffic is traveling. It is a very realistic concern of mine, and it should be the board's concern also. In the same interview with My State Line News, Chairman Johnson stated, quote, "We want to make sure we find ways to improve the safety for all of our citizens," unquote. Isn't this one of those times when the board needs to find a way to improve the safety for all the people who travel Poplar Grove Road? Last meeting, Mr. Ojeda was asked about his plan for this venue. Up to that point, there really wasn't a clear plan. If he comes in with a more detailed plan tonight, I hope the board still places public safety in the forefront because Poplar Grove Road, it can't be compared to Stone Quarry Road. It can't be compared to Wyman School Road. You need to look at the history of this road and vote no. Vote no and stand up for public safety. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, I have Pamela Gustafson.
May I defer my comments to the special use permit section?
You mean during the special use section? Oh, I'm sorry. Now is the time for public comment at a county board meeting. In a committee meeting, we would do that, but at a county board meeting, it's set up this way.
You talking to me?
Yes, I'm just stating. So go ahead.
I couldn't hear you. My name is Pamela Gustafson. I live at 9637 Poplar Grove Road and have lived there for going on 48 years. Recently, I drove down and back, headed south, and then came back north on Stone Quarry Road, which is approximately 5 to 6 miles. The Country Gardens event is located at 5249 Stone Quarry Road. Round trip, there were 10 cars on the road, including mine, and this was approximately in the middle of the day. Having an events venue on Poplar Grove Road is no comparison to Squaw Prairie Road as far as traffic is concerned. Poplar Grove Road can, at any time, have 10 cars or more per minute. I believe that the special use business permit should not be given to the homeowner at 9194 Poplar Grove Road. Location is not appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, I apologize for this gentleman, but I can't read the last name. It's Bob. July, okay.
Ladies and gentlemen of the board, thank you very much for having me here.
Mr. July, just a reminder, if you could,
My name is Robert July. I live at 6830 Squaw Prairie Road. I've lived there in excess of 50 years. I'm here regarding the party venue. Kind of reminds me of the venue that was started at the clock tower. And as you recall, that got out of hand and there was shootings and there was a lot of incidences that put another coffin, a nail in the coffin of the clock tower. And also you see a lot about party buses, et cetera. And statistically, a lot of things that are not good for the community occur in those. And so I'm asking, or my opinion as far as the board is concerned is that I think it's a very serious mistake to encourage a large party gathering, be it alcohol available, which I'm not opposed to necessarily, but it generally promotes trouble. It is going to require additional officers, more taxpayer dollars. And board, please remember, we are your customers, the taxpayers of this community. Thank you very much.
thank you, sir. Next up, I have Toria Funderburg.
Good evening. My name is Toria Funderburg. I live at 8700 Somerset Drive in Belvedere. The current speed limit on Poplar Grove Road between Garden Prairie and Marengo is 55 miles an hour. During a vehicle count by the IDOT in 2018, this stretch of road recorded 5,500 passing vehicles in a 24-hour period. In the last 3 years, the incidence of traffic has incurred and increased to the northern part of the county. And I'm sure the accidents would increase as well. During the last 4 years of 2014, 2018, according to the Boone County traffic records, there were 50 accidents between Garden Prairie and Marengo, including the intersections, some fatalities. 46 accidents from Poplar Grove north to Woodstock. Poplar Grove Road is classified as a minor arterial throughway. Interstate 90 is classified as a major. Highway 76 is a principal. This rates as a minor arterial that Poplar Grove Road is the third busiest throughway in the county, running from Lawrenceville Road near the river to Highway 173 in Poplar Grove Township. The Boone County Code of Ordinance Section 2.7.3 asks in subsection A, is the location requested necessary or desirable? Provide a service in the interest of the public, contribute to the general welfare of the neighborhood and the community. Subsection B asks that it not have substantial adverse effects on the adjacent property or the character of the neighborhood. Most of all, affect traffic conditions, public health, safety, and the general welfare of the area. Subsection F asks that the potential benefits outweigh any potential adverse impact. From a safety standpoint, Poplar Grove Road, we feel, with the speed of 55 miles an hour, considered high, including fatalities, is rated the third busiest road in the county, with 5,500 people passing in a 24-hour period. Considered a minor arterial throughway, it is only a 2-lane road with no turning lane at Mr. Ojita's entrance. This, we believe, is reason enough to believe that the accident rate could and would increase in the area. Cars entering and exiting on Poplar Grove Road with reduced lighting and no turn lane would potentially create accident and the loss of life. Fatalities have occurred at both intersections where there are stop signs and overhead lighting. We don't think that we want more accidents happening anywhere in the community, and this would certainly be the possibility at this location. The proposed use of the property for weddings, birthdays, graduations, or special parties in general change the dairy farm to an entertainment area and would change the fabric of the neighborhood from a quiet agricultural area to a commercial mix by adding a small rural entertainment business with large gatherings, which could potentially increase the noise level in the area any day of the week, from sunup to sundown, from 6 to 7 months of the year. We believe that it would not be a benefit to the current property owners who moved to the county many years ago to leave the noise and the level of the city. We acknowledge the county fair has noise, but that's only once a year. Something I would like to say, when I read the proposed use, it was unclear to me that Mr. Ojita would be the actual host and the organizer of this function that he was requesting, and be on hand to oversee and control the ceremonies. We feel the wording in his special use permit application for a small rural business is misleading. He has not prepared a plan for how he would conduct the business, and the application doesn't make that clear either. We believe his business would be just to rent out his 5 acres of property to anyone who needs a location to gather and party. And we feel this would not be in the best interest or the safety of the area. My most main concern is the potential for safety hazard of the location. It's the location on Poplar Grove Road that I'm most concerned about. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, I have Al Heiser.
Thank you. My name is Al Heiser. I live at 9590 Doris Court. I have resided at this residence for over 30 years now. I want to make just a couple of public safety comments. One, the Poplar Grove Road and Squaw Prairie Road intersection is arguably one of the most dangerous intersections in Boone County. In the years from 2016 to 2020, there have been 34 accidents with 1 known fatality. The speed limit is posted at 55, but is rarely observed. I know this because my backyard backs up to Poplar Grove Road. Boone County Sheriff's Department is understaffed as it is. If we expect our law enforcement to readily respond in a timely manner to incidents involving participants of events at this venue, that is not realistic. The Sheriff's Department consistently operates with just 4 deputies on duty, 70 to 80% of the time. These deputies are responsible for 288 square miles. Adding venues, mixing in alcohol, and today's unpredictable society just adds burden on an already undermanned sheriff's department. I said this first time I came here, I don't want to squelch people's hopes and dreams. However, I moved to the country for peace and quiet. With this potential business being allowed to conduct their venue there, I feel we will lose that peace and quiet that has existed for the past 30 years since my family has resided there. It was mentioned that, well, the fair makes noise. Yes, that's true. 2 miles away. The fair lasts 1 week a year. The fair, I want to add this as well. The fair also has numerous deputies on scene there. So if anything was to take place there and anyone gets out of hand, we have a lot of law enforcement that's already there. As I said, I'm exactly a half mile from this proposed venue, and I would imagine that we will certainly hear the sounds that could potentially be produced from this for events that are being held there. The possibility of going from 1 week, which is a fair, to numerous random days or nights throughout the year that will generate noise is highly possible. I want to clarify something else that was put out there. Someone mentioned that people were not happy with my statement concerning that the gentleman who owns the property and wishes to conduct a business there will be an absentee owner. I simply stated that because I went there one day and I returned a stray dog. I went to the house, knocked on the door, and the man who came to the door was not Mr. Ojeda. That's my statement that day. So I wanted to clarify that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Last up, I have John Christofferson.
Not John. Can I?
It's okay.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you for letting me talk and appreciate what you guys do. It's been very interesting to see how you handle things and stuff. My concern is, first of all, naturally, it's the noise. Where we sit in front of our house, a lot of times we sit in the front lawn. We're looking right over at that property. There's no trees, there's no buffer. We can hear the dog bark, we hear things. You can hear the fair, which is okay because we enjoy the fair and it only lasts a week. And we kind of moved out there because we like the country living, we like the quietness and stuff. And I've went to many accidents up in that intersection, and it's not fun to go up there and see somebody's car smashed up. If you're in that intersection, somebody gets hit, the car flies, who knows who else is going to get hit. And another thing we noticed that they've got little ones, and which is okay. But what happens if you have a party like that and a little kid wanders out, they forget about him. He wanders out in the road there and gets run over or something. Okay, another thing too, if a storm comes up, do they have a place where people can get down in a basement or a shelter? If you have a tornado coming, it just pops up, stuff like that. So basically with us, it's just, I think a lot of it's here. It's not of the noise, but then it's just doesn't seem like that's the right place to have something like that when we're in a farm area. So another thought, if it's going to be bothering me and then you end up, people get upset in the neighborhood here, they're probably going to move. Who's going to move in? Maybe the neighbor goes downhill. We got good people that are living there now. So it's just, to me, I just don't feel it. Another thing is the parking stuff. It doesn't seem like there's a terrible lot of room there. I know they can park on the grass and stuff, but I would say the major thing kind of is that highway going through there and the accidents we've had. I just feel that it just isn't the right thing to have in our area. So I thank you for letting me talk.
Thank you very much. I do have a couple more here that came up. I think it's Kelly Kennedy.
Thank you to the board. I will apologize for being late to this dance. I was literally moving into this neighborhood 18 days ago. And so I agree with all of my fellow citizens, all of the concerns they brought up.
Ms. Kennedy, did you state your name and address for the record, your full name and address? Oh, and you have to talk right directly into that. You can pull it out if you'd like to and hold it.
You know what? I'm a hold the mic girl.
Yeah, right close to it.
No? Oh, that's good. Okay, that's good. Okay. Kelly Kennedy, 9559 Henninger Drive, for 18 days in Belvedere. And prior to that, over on Bonnegate Drive in Belvedere for, in a week, it would have been 21 years. I'm going to approach this a little differently. I agree with every single word that came from everyone in the crowd. And I know that Boone County and Belvedere would like to make more money. I will say that since I moved here 21 years ago, it is just a little disheartening to see some of the businesses that have sprung up. We had the issue with the massage parlors. How that went undetected for so long just makes my head want to rotate off and fly around the room. Slot machines are a big deal. We see those a lot. Now, I don't doubt that those bring in a lot of money, I would just hope to God that Belvedere could be, or Boone County could be a little more creative with the ways that we earn money or bring money in. In exactly 12 hours, a car full of women are going to head off to northern Indiana, me included, to a place that started in the 70s as a tiny little restaurant, middle of nowhere, Middlebury, Indiana. They have never served a drop of alcohol. They have never been open on a Sunday. And they literally, at this point, they have a restaurant now that serves 1,000. They have an on-site humongous hotel. And they also have a semi-associated retirement village. This place has blossomed. They bring in busloads of people that bring in busloads of money to not only Middlebury, but to Shipshewana. Shipshewana has blown up over the last 30 and 40 years because the Essen House in Middlebury started there and they went a different direction. I would hope for something better for Boone County than to bring in yet another business that is reliant on either alcohol, partying. I don't know, are they going to be shooting off fireworks there? If they are, who's going to, monitor that and get them to stop? So I would just hope that we could do better than that. So, thank you again.
Thank you very much. Last up, I have Eddie Batris. Is it? Once again, if you could state your full name and address for the record into the microphone.
Good evening. My name is Eddie Batris, 221 West Park Street. I am a business owner myself. I am very proud of my family. I'm very proud of this community. One of the reasons why we decided to move over here is because the environment around. And we have been an environment. I am myself a business, like I told you. I know many, many business owners in this area. And I think all of us, including the 34% of the community that are Latinos, are also doing, and we're doing our part. I think sometimes the issue goes beyond a permit, and sometimes goes beyond when some people see us like we don't belong here. And that is a problem, because I've been referenced and I've been seeing it. And many times when there is something coming on, there is resistance. And that is good. We are in a democracy. We are supposed to talk to each other. We are supposed to embrace the fundamentals of this country. And it is good to find and see if what is coming is going to empower or it's going to be the opposite. Now, when I come every day from Poplar Grove, especially around these days, there are tractors on the road. Some of them taking half of the road. For me, that's a safety hazard, because I have kids, I have grandkids coming and visiting us. But you know what? For me, that's power, because there are some other business owners that are farmers, and they deserve to have their business, just like I have it on my own way in my own field. So when we are talking about safety hazards, we got to look into the golf course that we have. I've been there. It's right off the road. It's open time around the year, and there is alcohol being served. Are we concerned about it? No, it's a business, it's entertainment. It's something that empowers our community, make it look good. Now, I am not saying if there is a permit that is presented, I am not saying if it is wrong, approve it. No. But as a business owner, I know there are ways that probably things can work. Putting limits sometimes And if those limits are not respected, then we can say, I'm sorry. I think those are the fundamentals of a democracy, and I think that that is what makes us strong. So what I'm saying is this. Sometimes we don't need to see things blue, red, black, or white. We gotta open our mind a little bit, because everything that happens, every business that comes, unfortunately, something that happened a few days ago in this factory, things happen. But that's why we are here for. So again, I'm not saying even a chance, because whatever he has said, no, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is we have to take a look and see that in reality, that can work. To finish, let me tell you this. I know many realtors in this area. And as we know, real estate is high. But I can tell you this. Latinos are buying farmers in this county and Winnebago. I can tell you that because I'm in the business, and the business that I'm in is insurance, and every day I got a request for that. So I'm asking tolerance. And if this thing don't work, I will be the first one to say, shut it down. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to offer a public comment? Yeah, you can go ahead and speak first and then fill it out afterwards, if you would, please. Again, I need a full name and address for the record, please.
My name is Jeremy Mitchell. I live at 6269 Squaw Prairie Road. I've lived there for 33 years now. Poplar Grove Road is extremely busy. My house, my side of my house is at Poplar Grove Road. I've been there since I was a little boy. It's not an ordinary county road. It is legitimately as busy as Highway 20. I tell my wife and children during peak hours of the day to go down Squaw Prairie Road east, go south on Grange Shaw, and go all the way to Lawrenceville Road to come to the stoplight, because I'd be devastated if they pulled out there and got killed. What comes to mind with me in that venue in particular is it's literally like their house is 50 feet off the road. And, if we have hundreds of people there, people don't realize how fast they're going on that road. They're going 70 miles per hour all day long. And there's thousands of people that live in Poplar Grove and Candlewick that are traveling through there. And it isn't from 6 in the morning till 9 and it stops. It's all night long. It doesn't stop. So I just would caution against it, because it would be an absolute tragedy if someone pulled out of there, a family of 4, and people hit them. It would just be horrible if someone died there. And to another note, there needs to be a stoplight there. The statistic we got that said 5,500 cars go through there in a 24-hour time frame is, no wonder we have how many accidents that Al Heiser noted from 2016 to 2020. So I live right there. I look at it all the time. I've seen changing my daughter's diaper, looking out the window last winter. I think it was sometime in January. I heard the tires lock up. My house is looking out the west, and I look up and there was a car accident right there. So I would caution against it, because Poplar Grove Road is seriously like the most busy road in our county, and it could be a real problem. If someone dies there and we said yes, and all of us were, saying why we thought that was a bad idea, I think that would be shameful. So just something to really consider. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Don't forget to fill out a form and bring that up, please. Is there anyone else in the board with comment? Staff, did we get anything in email? Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your public comments. I appreciate it. Next up, appointments and recognition. Excuse me, before we get to the appointments here, there is one member on the appointments list that I would like to pull off for appointment tonight, Kenneth Wagman for Cape and Rescue. I need to confirm some stuff to make sure that there's not a conflict there. That I need to just confer with the state's attorney a little bit and do some other digging. I thought I heard one thing, but now I'm hearing that maybe something else. So I just want to confirm that. So I'd like to remove him from the appointments list and keep the rest of them the same. Thank you, sir.
And if I could just say before we vote on these, if you want to pull out a particular one, now is the time to do it. So if you want to vote on it individually, that's perfectly fine. But it's hard to do once we've made the motion and second it. So if anyone has one to pull out, now is the time to do it.
I'd like to pull one out, Mr.
Okay.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Byers,
Mr. Byer, okay.
please. Thank you.
Randy Byer, correct? Randy Byer. Any others? Hearing none, I would ask a motion to accept the appointments with the exception of Mr. Wagman that is pulled out for now and Randy Byer who will be voted on separately.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Carlisle, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Shabakar. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Excuse me. Next, I would accept a motion to approve Randy Byer, and that's to the Boone County Building
Yeah, Board
of Appeals, Building Board of Appeals. Wow, that's a mouthful. Can I have a motion for that?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Shabakar. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Robertson. Any discussion? Mr. Curry.
The reason I asked for him to be pulled out at this moment isn't that I don't think he has done a good job or that he will in the future. But he's involved right now with a property dispute with a neighbor. And I think it just doesn't look attractive when you have that power when you're involved in something like that. So I would, not that I don't, I'm not saying anything bad about Randy or if he is even wrong in this issue. I'm just stating that if you're in that dispute right now, you should probably get through that before holding that kind of power, in my opinion. So I'll be voting no.
Any further discussion? Mr. Carlisle.
With this board that Randy Byer is on, is this a single group of, or is it three? I can't remember.
I believe it's 3.
And they're functional with 2.
It should be, yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion? Mr. Wiltsey.
I can't tell, Ryan, from your comments, is this something that would come before this board, this dispute, or is it just a dispute between neighbors over property lines or?
There's damage to a property over, I believe it would come across, if I'm correct with.
I don't believe so. I don't believe this body would hear anybody's complaints against each other.
No, I mean, in front of the body he sits on.
Oh,
Would the nature of the dispute
Right.
with his neighbor be something that would come to that body?
I think I don't believe the Building Board of Appeals has ever come before this body in anything.
I mean,
Here.
dispute.
the issue with the
Issues.
dispute between he and his neighbor would come before the body that he sits on.
on that particular.
Oh, I have,
The reason I
don't know.
think it would is because there is a building on that property that was caused during quote unquote improper damage from either septic or something along those lines, which would tend me to believe that it would come in front of this board. It may not, or
I guess that might be a question for the state's attorney. Any clue?
I'm not sure.
If, you know what?
And the thing is that if it were to involve him personally and he's on that board, he needs to recuse himself. So I can't say for certain whether it would be in front of this board, but it goes for any board that you're on. Any person that's on a board cannot make a determination in a personal dispute. So I would expect that out of this person to become in front of the board.
If it would make the board more comfortable, I'm happy that we can pull Mr. Byer for this month also, and maybe do a little more digging on this and find out where that, if that is a conflict, what it would be and where it would go, if that would satisfy the board. Mr. Yes, sir.
I think that's a great idea, what you're saying. Obviously, we've had other people come before this board to be approved, to be appointed to other boards. This is another one of those classic examples where obviously you got a concern. So if you've got a concern, that's certainly something I think we should be looking into before we just approve.
Sure. Sure. So if I could, then I think Mr. Shabaka made the motion.
Yes.
Would you be willing to take that back? And Mr. Robertson, you made this?
Yes.
Okay, so motion and second withdrawn. And we'll hold Mr. Byer over and we'll do a little more digging on this issue. Mr. Curry, maybe you and I can converse a little on that and get some more details.
Good.
Next up, reports on community agencies, Council on Aging.
Yes. We recently had a VOCA grant approved and they were able to fill an advocate coordinator position, which is a huge help with CASA.
Was that, are you doing CASA?
Oh, what is it?
Council on Aging.
Oh, jeez. Oh. Started with a C.
Walker, do you want to?
There's a CNA in it.
You all set, Ryan?
Go ahead.
He's just trying to speed the meeting up a little bit here.
I'll be real brief. The Boone County Council on Aging, they have resumed all their activities. And of course, that's good news. They did some work and I helped a little bit out in the gazebo out at the fair. And this Saturday from 4 to 7, they'll be at the Moose. They'll be doing the meals. So you get a ticket, you can buy a ticket there. So you can go out there. I don't know what the food is, but you can go out there and get a meal between 4 and 7, and it's a drive-through. So you can drive through, buy your ticket there, get what you want, and leave. It's kind of a little bit of a fundraiser. So that's all I have.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Next up, Growth Dimensions. Is Pam here? I don't.
She's not this evening.
She's not? Okay.
Report submitted.
I'm online.
Oh, there you are.
There she is, Caroline.
Hi, Pam. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good evening. I just wanted to share a few things. We have seen an increase in engagement with enterprise zone activity. Most recently, Stellantis had an enterprise zone project in June to replace some boilers. So, I mean, there has been some activity at Stellantis as well as other businesses in our community. So we're hoping that, that this means continuing to invest in our community. In addition, we've had a resource meeting with organizations that provide services to entrepreneurs and innovators. And we had 23 organizations that attended. And our next step is to bring those together to identify what services that they provide, to identify some of the gaps in our community, and also to provide those resources to businesses that are looking to grow or expand or create a footprint in Boone County. Over this past week, and including this week, we've been involved in attraction efforts at the Select USA Summit. This gave us an opportunity to meet with several companies throughout the outside the US. And I met with about 15 companies, mostly representing the automotive industry, some with aerospace, food processing, and distribution and logistics. And to date, we have actually applied for 19 projects that are active industrial commercial projects since January 1st. We are working with a project in detail called Project Kelly. This is a distribution facility that will service food processing in multiple states. It will be one of the largest distribution centers in the region. We created a very aggressive responds to their needs, and we're hoping they'll choose Boone County as their location. We're still working with them. We're hoping that they'll make a commitment before July 1st. We've also, we're made aware that there is a new company coming from McHenry County called RPS Products, and they've focused on producing best air furnaces and filters and and accessories for water treatments and aromatherapy products. So we'll get some more information about the company and how many employees and what this means for Boone County. And as far as workforce, we know that there's been a large layoff that has occurred with Stellantis, but we also understand that Android is anticipating laying off 73 individuals come July 1st, as well as Synchron 224 individuals. So again, this is partially because of the slowdown, because of the chip. What is affecting the automotive industry will also be affecting the other supplemental organization or companies that are suppliers, tier 1 and tier 2 suppliers. In response to this, I think at the last meeting I had talked about a letter going out to elected officials to partner with the state on creating a more aggressive incentive package. We have done so. We sent one out to the governor and copied the Department of Economic Opportunity, as well as Intersect Illinois. And we understand that they want to have a follow-up meeting to discuss that letter. We're trying to build a better case for businesses, not only to be attracted to Illinois, but also to help them grow. I mean, having existing companies in a better position as they want to transform into new technology is going to be just as critical. Any questions?
Questions for growth options? Thank you, Pam. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much.
Next up, Mr. Curry, CASA.
Steve, you sure you don't want to jump in here?
Well, if you need some help,
Thank you.
I may not know what I'm talking about like you do, but I'll help.
I don't either. It's all right. Again, we recently had a VOCA grant that was approved, and they filled a much needed position for advocate coordinator, which helps out a lot. Really the only, we got an event coming up, Cars for CASA, will be Sunday, September 12th. That'll go during the Buchanan Street stroll from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. And you can get more info or sign up and get tickets at BooneCountyCASA.org. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Next up, Board of Health. Amanda, are you on the line?
Good evening, Chairman. Yes, I'm here.
The floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. Amanda Mail here with the Boone County Health Department. Good evening. There was information uploaded on board docs for you all to review. Just make a couple comments about Restore Illinois. As of June 11th, as we had discussed, the entire state of Illinois did move into phase 5, which is the last phase of Restore Illinois. All sectors are allowed to be fully opened at this time, and many businesses are adopting the CDC masking guidance. So we'll continue to work with our local businesses on that. Moving forward with plans for the fair and many other activities over the summer. So kind of a breath of fresh air after a long dark tunnel. There is a one-page business sector guidance document that I did put on board docs for you all to look over. We find that that's a helpful thing to provide to the public and any businesses that may approach you with questions. It's pretty comprehensive, just with a high-level overview, and then there are links to resources that are available. Also would just like to comment that our mobile pop-up and walk-up vaccination clinics are going extremely well. We did have a location that just wrapped up at 7 o'clock this evening at Family Dollar right there on State Street. I drove by on my way leaving town and saw a line of cars. So that was a successful event. We are doing mobile units on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We are doing several 2-dose Pfizer clinics targeting our 12 to 18-year-olds on the upcoming Saturday, the 19th, and then next Wednesday, the 23rd. Those dates are published on board docs as well. They're on our website and our social media pages. And then I would also comment that we are doing walk-in clinic at our facility here at 1204 Logan Avenue every Thursday from 9 to 4. And that's all I have, Chairman. Thank you.
Any questions for the health department? Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you.
Next up, Region 1. We have not had a meeting since our last meeting, so nothing new to report there. Next up, general consent items. I see nothing on that agenda. So we will go right to 10.1 and go to Administration Committee of the Whole. Mr. Curry.
All right. 10.1. Need a motion to approve SUP-18-2021 Ojeda special use.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Jonathan Van Laar.
Actually, the motion's made by you, seconded by Mr. Van Laar. All right, staff report.
Thank you. So I've included a memo, Kevin, if you could pull it up, just with an overview of what we discussed at committee. This is the special use to allow a small rural business as an outdoor event space and an indoor event space as an assembly hall located at 9194 Poplar Grove Road with a zoning of A1 Agricultural Preservation District. I outlined the actions that have been taken on the case. Planning Commission voted in favor on May 18th. The Zoning Board of Appeals voted not in favor of the findings of fact and not in favor of the project. The Committee of the Whole also voted not in favor on June 3rd, and that was a motion to approve, which failed. So attached, you'll find the public comments and concerns of
starting route
members as well.
100 Saddle Path Road. Proceed to Logan Avenue, then turn left.
And then Kevin, if you could pull up my report.
This one.
Yep. I know that we wanted to look at the findings possibly, or if there are any questions.
Questions from the board? Is the applicant here? Did the applicant want to make any kind of statement or anything?
No,
He's not here, or he didn't want to make a statement?
he's not here.
Okay. Okay. That's unfortunate.
Chairman, just briefly, were there any changes in the finding of fact? Is this your original advisory report?
Yep.
Okay. I don't have any questions, but I will have some comments at the appropriate time, Mr. Chairman.
Since the applicant is not here, we'll move to discussion by the board. So, Mr. Wiltsey, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the gentleman's comments about this country and the way things should be done. And as a lawyer, one of the things I really like to reflect upon is the view of the lady holding the scales as justice. She is not blind, she is blindfolded. And the scales are held out with her not being able to see what's in them. And the weight of the evidence is to be placed upon those scales. In this case, I think the weight of the evidence is against this project. Although the findings of fact indicate in the first section, A, that the applicant himself has seen a need for this type of business. I don't recall any testimony to that effect before the county board, and I don't see any demonstration in the record of that. The second one is traffic conditions is specifically mentioned in subsection B on the finding of facts. There's talk about in these documents that we all have and what we heard from witnesses and we heard from the applicant and we've heard from staff about parking and setting up something so that traffic wouldn't back up onto Poplar Grove Road. But there's no discussion whatsoever about the effects of the traffic on Poplar Grove Road. Now, I myself almost lost my stepdaughter a year and a half ago on an accident at Poplar Grove Road in Woodstock. And so I am perhaps, as a parent, more familiar than some, but anybody that drives that road knows how busy it is. I've even begun to use that road instead of 76 to get down to the highway to go into Lawrenceville and everything. It's a straight shot, but it is a very busy road. So I don't see any addressing of the traffic conditions problem. In C, I assume that's kind of a typo because it says the proposed use should not have any effects on the surrounding development. But it does talk about specific location in a specific area. And that's what I think distinguishes from that one that was approved in 2019. It says conditions are in place to mitigate concerns in the staff report, but I don't see those conditions other than, like I said, parking, perhaps. I'm familiar, having served as a city attorney for Des Plaines, as many high volume uses or special uses or places even like Pesci's that sells plants and gardening stuff. They would have police or deputy sheriffs detailed as part of their thing. There's been no indication from the applicant of any such thoughts to alleviate the traffic concerns. So I think in section D, the proposed conditions and the recommendations that the staff report has all go from parking to outdoor lighting to the setback requirements and noise, but nothing about the traffic, which I think is truly actually in this particular location a significant concern. In subsection E, and it is the process that we have, the fact of the matter is that the Zoning Board of Appeals rejected the findings of fact that are in the staff report. And there are concerns there about, by the ZBA members, about traffic and the location being on Grove Road particularly. And that's one of the reasons they've rejected the findings of fact and also voted not in favor of supporting this special use application. One that I find particularly telling, which goes to the comment I made at the very beginning of my remarks. This in section F talks about the special use, the public benefits of the special use, would they outweigh, that's them quoting the language, outweigh any potential adverse impacts of the special use. And there you have in your mind the scales and what's on the scales. And I don't see anything that outweighs the potential public detriment of this kind of location on this kind of a, granted it's called a minor street, but if you look at the zoning map that was attached to our documentation, it's called County Highway 1. This is in fact a big cut through to come off of set 173 and go down to the tollway and get back on, and is greatly used by a lot of people to access the highway. Again, turning to the other findings of fact, there is a discussion of appropriate circulation of vehicles and an increase in traffic, but there's no addressing of what that would be to make those scales tip in terms of the weighing of the benefit. In my opinion, as a member of this board, I do not think that the evidence has been laid out adequate to support this special use. I feel that I say that as a matter of questions of facts and not in any other way at all, other than to say, I don't think the case has been made for this special use at this location. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Wiltsey. Any further discussion? Mr. De La Trinidad.
So I trust Izzy and her findings and her facts. She does a really good job with all this. So I really trust what she says, and I trust her findings. But I keep thinking about this a lot, and it seems to me that no one tries to point out that on Woodstock Road, they have timber golf courses there that host parties, have weddings, sell alcohol, live music on Thursdays, and no one seems to bat an eye on that. But we want to give Mr. Ojeda a hard time when he wants to have live music on Saturdays. I just don't see the arguments for the safety issue, because if it was a safety issue, we will all be concerned about them and shutting them down. So
Mr. Curry?
The gentleman who spoke in reference to the Latinos in our area, and I would personally want to tell you that, and I don't think anybody on this board would ever look differently towards someone's race in regards to a business or anything of that regards. We're blind to that. I hope we all are. And I think in all, we want someone to and encourage people to open businesses here in our community and live their dream. I think that's been stated multiple times. But with those dreams comes safety regards, locations, all these things that zoning does. Zoning boards of appeal denied this, and I trust their findings. We cannot compare it to a golf course on Woodstock Road. There's not even a comparison in traffic there. And I would just say that maybe he did not think, maybe he bought this farm in this regards, but it's directly across from the subdivision. This was out in the middle of nowhere with a safer road that we could actually take more precautions in. I wouldn't probably be so against it, but because of this, I live in the country as well. I value that peace and quiet. That's why we move out there. And I can understand why a lot of people are against this.
Mr. Schwacher?
Yes, I agree with other board members here, Mr. Wiltsey and Mr. Curry. But my own personal thoughts as being a previous, for a couple of years on the Zoning Board of Appeals, we do a lot of research. That's what the function of that board is, and to advise this board. With that being said, I disagree with the findings of fact. They do agree with the Zoning Board of Appeals not to approve special use 2021. Thank you.
Mr. De La Trinidad?
So comment on the ZBA. I believe they panicked. I think obviously a lot of influence perceived that vote. That vote came because of a lot of pushback. So I think, and again, I go back again to the safety concerns that a lot of folks have, and I do get those concerns. I really do. But we have to look at, okay, so Timber Point Golf Courses is one example. We also have the fair that goes for a whole week, and it's probably 1,000 times more traffic issues and cars than what Mr. Ojeda will ever have. And I know someone pointed out something about, well, there's police presence there. Only in the initial entry. Outside of that, that road is completely open with all kinds of kids, cell phones, accidents. So to me, like I said, the ZBA has been wrong lots of times. And I believe they are wrong in this one.
Mr. Schwacher?
Yeah, well, Fred, I was on that zoning board of appeals for 2 years. And we did due diligence in looking up and researching as best as we could. In my opinion, as a previous board member, they do not panic. I don't panic. You do the research. I can't see any different on board. So that's just an additional comment. Thank you.
Any further questions from the board? Mr. Riley?
Just real quick, this map was provided to us at the last meeting on what, June 3rd? It's a public safety issue. We see the stars. Timber Point, just in regard to what Mr. De La Trinidad said, the entrance off of, to the golf course is off of Woodstock Road. It's not at the major intersection where the busy Poplar Grove Road is. I said it at the meeting on the 3rd, location. I love the idea of having a venue of this type. I just don't think this is the right location to have it. And that's my feelings on this. Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please. Oops, I'm sorry, Freddie.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say that I will be in favor of this. I'm gonna be voting yes. I think it's a farming rights issue for me. Every farmer has a right to have their own business. Every farmer has a right to do with their land, whatever they choose to do. And if everything's correct, the findings are in order, I have no problem, issuing a permit for him. So to me personally, the safety issue does not convince me.
Thank you, sir. Just real quick, I'll just make a quick statement here, just so we have it. I think the safety issues certainly are real. It's a busy intersection. I'm disappointed that Mr. Ojeda is not here because I wanted to try and present some things to him to see if he would be agreeable to him for his project that might help address some of those issues. He's not here. He can't deny or approve those. So, and it's a struggle for me. I agree with Mr. De La Trinidad that this is his property. He should be able to have this kind of venue. I think these kind of venues are fantastic, and if done right, they're an amazing addition to any community. So it's unfortunate that he's not here to help us with this. That's all I got.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
may I make a comment?
absolutely.
So I did speak with Mr. Ojeda before the meeting, and we spoke a little bit about the project, about the concerns, and he was willing to, at some point in the future, come back and talk possibly with other departments to see what else could be added and what other concerns. So I think he was agreeable to that, but I think for now, he's kind of going to go back to the drawing board, either with us or with other departments, with me, I mean, and with other departments. So there might be an opportunity to review a brand new plan in the future.
Super. Okay. Thank you. Ms. Bartel.
Yes, I drive up and down Poplar Grove Road quite often because we have property up in Poplar Grove off of Beaverton Road. And on going past this gentleman's place of residence, he is doing a lot of improving as of right now. I've seen fences going up. I've seen people there working around. I think the gentleman is trying to improve his property. And I think he really does, or really would like to have something done there. But I'm gonna agree with Izzy. I think at this point in time, I would probably vote no on this, but I would look forward to seeing something that this gentleman can do in the future when he has the time and maybe the money to improve his plan and come to this board with a better plan.
Any further comments? Roll call, please.
Jeff Carlisle,
No.
Ryan Curry,
No.
Freddie De La Trinidad,
Yes.
Carl Johnson,
No.
Ray Larson,
No.
Rodney Riley,
No.
Bill Robertson,
No.
Steve Schabacher,
No.
Jonathan Van Laar,
No.
David Wiltsey,
No.
Sherry Bartel.
I will vote no at this time in hopes that the man comes up with a better plan.
Thank you very much. Mr. Curry. Thank you, Izzy. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 10.2, I make a motion to approve IGA to provide public mass transit service to the county of Boone.
Motion by Mr. Curry.
Second.
Carlisle, any discussion? This is a contract, so roll call, please.
Ryan Curry,
Yes.
Freddie De La Trinidad,
Yes.
Carl Johnson,
Yes.
Ray Larson,
Aye.
Rodney Riley,
Yes.
Bill Robertson,
Yes.
Steve Schabacher, Jonathan Van Laar,
Yes.
Dave Wiltsey,
Aye.
Sherry Bartelt,
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle.
Yes.
Motion carries. Mr. Curry.
10.3, I make a motion to approve proposal for 2021 annual services, Belvedere, Boone County landfill number two in the amount of $40,100 to be split 50-50 with the city of Belvedere.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Curry, seconded by Mr. Carlisle. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Freddie De La Trinidad,
Yes.
Carl Johnson,
Yes.
Ray Larson,
Aye.
Rodney Riley,
Yes.
Bill Robertson,
Yes.
Steve Shabaka.
Yes.
Jonathan Van Laar,
Yes.
Dave Wiltie,
Aye.
Sherry Bartelt,
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle,
Yes.
Ryan Curry.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item 10.4, you make a motion to approve COSAP side letter to the intergovernmental agreement between Boone County and the city of Belvedere.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Curry, seconded by Mr. Riley. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, if you could, please, when you exit, please leave quietly. Motion by Mr. Curry, seconded by Mr. Riley. Discussion, Mr. Wiltie.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I noticed the language on paragraph 5 on compensation. The previous language had said the 15th day of the month, and then the cost sharing was the 15th day of the month. Is that realistic for financially paying that on a timely basis, the 15th? Is that a good sequence? And
I'm going to pass that question to people a lot smarter than me. Mr. Catlin.
I was gonna say, I did put the language on or about the 15th, so I would do that as close as possible to that date. But we're on a schedule, or we approve them twice a month.
okay. Just a practical matter that next year I'll know better. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
If you can,
Aye.
if you do roll call, just because it's my letter, but, and
Okay.
it might involve money regarding the overtime,
Okay.
so.
State's attorney has asked for a roll call, please.
Carl Johnson,
Yes.
Ray Larson,
Aye.
Rodney Riley,
Yes.
Bill Robertson,
Yes.
Steve Shabaka, Jonathan Van Laar,
Yes.
Dave Wiltie,
Aye.
Sherry Bartelt,
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle,
Yes.
Ryan Curry,
Yes.
Freddie De La Trinidad.
Yes.
Motion carries. Mr. Curry.
Item 10.5, make a motion to direct staff to gather cost estimates for equipment repairs and explore lease options with the Belvedere Park District for Big Thunder Park Playground.
Motion by Mr. Curry,
Second.
second by Mr. Riley. Discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up, finance. I'm sorry?
Do you want him to do that?
No, I can do it this way. I'd make a motion, I'd move to approve claims with the understanding that Carl Johnson abstains from voting on all claims presented by William Charles, and Bill Robertson abstains from voting on all claims presented by B. Robertson Lock Service.
Second. Well, Mr. Chairman, you would want to make that motion though, right?
You know what, you're right. So I would ask for a motion. So
I so moved.
motion by Mr. Carlisle, seconded by Mr. Shabaka.
Yep.
Thank you, gentlemen. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ray Larson,
Aye.
Rodney Riley,
Yes.
Bill Robertson,
Yes.
Steve Shabaka, Jonathan Van Laar,
Yes.
Dave Wiltie,
Aye.
Sherry Bartelt,
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle,
Yes.
Ryan Curry,
Yes.
Freddie De La Trinidad,
Yes.
Carl Johnson.
Yes. Motion carries. Next up, I would accept a motion to approve resolution 21-13, sale of surplus property 03-22-177-012.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Carlisle, seconded by Mr. Robertson. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Rodney Riley,
Yes.
Bill Robertson,
Yes.
Steve Shabaka, Jonathan Van Laar,
Yes.
Dave Wiltie,
Aye.
Sherry Bartelt,
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle,
Yes.
Ryan Curry,
Yes.
Freddie De La Trinidad,
Yes.
Carl Johnson,
Yes.
Ray Larson.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, I accept a motion to approve resolution 21-14, sale of surplus property 03-27-378-008.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Robertson, seconded by Mr. Carlisle. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Bill Robertson,
Yes.
Steve Shabaka, Jonathan Van Laar,
Yes.
Dave Wiltie,
Aye.
Sherry Bartelt,
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle,
Yes.
Ryan Curry,
Yes.
Freddie De La Trinidad,
Yes.
Carl Johnson.
Yes.
Ray Larson,
Aye.
Rodney Riley.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next, I'd accept a motion to approve the solid waste management plan scope and service agreement.
So move.
Second. Robertson, seconded by Mr. Schabacker. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Steve Schabacker. Jonathan Van Laar.
Yes.
Dave Wiltsey.
Aye.
Sherry Bartelt,
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle,
Yes.
Ryan Curry,
Yes.
Freddie De La Trinidad,
Yes.
Carl Johnson,
Yes.
Ray Larson,
Aye.
Rodney Riley,
Yes.
Bill Robertson.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next, I'd ask for a motion for the memorandum of understanding between the county and Rosecrans Incorporated for the COSAP Grant Program Community Counselor.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Carlisle, seconded by Mr. Riley. Any discussion? Okay. Roll call, please.
Jonathan Van Laar,
Yes.
Dave Wiltsey,
Aye.
Sherry Bartelt,
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle,
Yes.
Ryan Curry,
Yes.
Freddie De La Trinidad,
Yes.
Carl Johnson,
Yes.
Ray Larson,
Aye.
Rodney Riley,
Yes.
Bill Robertson.
Yes.
Steve Schabacker.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next, I accept the motion to approve the TRC proposal, PVC replacement of landfill monitoring wells.
I'll make the motion. Second.
By Mr. Carlisle, seconded by Mr. Robertson. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Dave Wiltsey,
Aye.
Sherry Bartelt,
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle,
Yes.
Ryan Curry,
Yes.
Freddie De La Trinidad,
Yes.
Carl Johnson,
Yes.
Ray Larson,
Aye.
Rodney Riley,
Yes.
Bill Robertson,
Yes.
Steve Schabacker,
Yes.
Jonathan Van Laar.
Yes.
Motion carries. Let's hope we're one step further to being done with that landfill. Next, I accept a motion to approve the low bidder for Boone, section 20-05149-00-BR Wheeler Culvert Extension Award.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Carlisle, seconded by Mr. Schabacker. This is to O'Brien Civil Works, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
For Florida Township.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any discussion? As of note, just as in the committee meeting, I will be abstaining from this vote as O'Brien Civil Works is one of my customers. Roll call, please.
Sherry Bartelt,
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle,
Yes.
Ryan Curry,
Yes.
Freddie De La Trinidad,
Yes.
Carl Johnson abstains, Ray Larson,
Aye.
Rodney Riley,
Yes.
Bill Robertson,
Yes.
Steve Schabacker, Jonathan Van Laar,
Yes.
Dave Wiltsey.
Aye.
Motion carries. Special committees, community building.
I don't have much. I think me and Mr. Robertson discussed, they're trying to look for him to fix their keys. Okay.
You wait. Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm listening. Okay.
But they're very adamant about having him fix their keys, so just so you know. And then we also have a geese poop problem there. It's just really bad, like on the side of the community building. They clean it up every day, but it's a real problem, and we're trying to find ways to fix that. We have no idea how to fix that, but yeah, but that's all I have.
I know some hunters that might, oh, wait a minute, I shouldn't say that. UCCI, Kevin, anything? UCCI? 911. Mr. Riley. 911.
911, yeah, we had a meeting this morning, just equipment issues, things like that that have to be budgeted for, replaced. The state's attorney gave us some information on some things that will help make us a little more compliant in some of our other issues, but other than that, not much going on. Running smooth, doing fine.
Okay. Skip over land bank as Ms. Geeske is not here. Any other committees?
Scheduling of committees. Mr. Curry, we'll start with you.
Next admin meeting is July 1st. Same place, 6 o'clock. Be there or be square.
There you go. And the finance committee meeting will be July 8th, 6 PM in this room. We moved, oh, that was to something else, never mind. Reapportionment discussion, informational items.
I don't know if we have anything really to discuss tonight that since last time. I
Okay.
think we're working on it to have some things in the next committee meetings for the board to consider.
Just, I know we talked about having some special meetings. I'll get with staff and we'll see if we can't hammer down a couple of dates set aside for special meetings and get that out in the next, probably next week, get some dates out for people. If there is a date by chance that you know you will be unavailable, please email that to staff so that they have that. And we don't intentionally schedule on a date when you're not going to be there unless it's Jonathan. And I'm sorry. I said that out loud. Just seeing if you're awake, John. Any board member comments? Mr. Carlisle.
Yeah, I've sent everybody a email with appointments, some suggestions of where we currently are at, and if we have some changes, I put them down there. I'd like your input on possible changes to the appointments, ideas. One thing I hadn't put on that, but I had talked to Kevin about, is it's difficult to get appointments, and everybody tends to see that. But I'd like to offer up a board member services for any new guy that would be, or new lady that would be appointed to a committee that would need help at all with that. I would definitely help a newbie to go into these committee meetings and to work with them and show them kind of the rules of the road. And that may change something. I thought I'd at least bring it up and make it a possibility. But that would be the only other add-on I would think that would change the appointments, other than the vetting and the ideas of a job description and what you're getting into and what's expectations of this committee is supposed to be. So I'd like to put something together so we could at least give it to our public, and maybe put something also in the newspapers with the job descriptions of what and the expectations. Thank you.
Anything else? Mrs. Bartel.
Yes, I thought at one time we were having a discussion, or maybe Jeff was going to do something about us looking at some rules and regulations or whatever as far as social media and what should be and what should not be.
Yeah, that's actually in the state's attorney's office. They took that and they're reviewing it and determining what type of policy that we could implement if we so desired.
That's correct. And it's expected to be on the admin meeting, committee meeting in July.
Good, because I was at a meeting last night and it was helter-skelter.
Do we need executive session?
Yes,
we do. Okay. I'd accept a motion to go into executive session.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Carlisle. Seconded by Mr. Van Laar.
For sale of real estate.
For sale of real estate. Okay. That's what you said, Mr. Carlisle, wasn't it?
That's for sale of real estate.
I thought, okay. Call, please.
Jeff Carlisle.
Yes.
Brian Curry.
Yes.
Freddie De La Trinidad.
Yes.
Carl Johnson.
Yes.
Ray Larson.
Aye.
Rodney Riley.
Yes.
Bill Robertson.
Yes.
Steve Shabak.
Yes.
Jonathan Van Laar.
Yes.
Dave Wiltie.
Aye.
Gary Bartel.
Yeah.
Motion carries.
And then can you say the time that we were going in?
Oh, yeah. So we are going into, well, you want me to say it right now?
Yeah, because.
Okay. Heading to executive session at 8:01 PM. Central